And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, RFQ Refugees podcast. Ted here, John here to review that somewhat of a soccer match. That's the way this tournament's gone, I think. That was very,
Very
very
much a
strange.
game.
Yeah, it was a game. A game of soccer was played again. 1-1 draw, as you can see by the bottom score line. I'm not good at it. I'm just going to give up. 1-1 score line. DC looked... I hesitate to say better. I thought they looked better. And I know some people are probably going to scream at me and say everything. I thought the team, at the very least, looked organized. There appeared to be much more defensive structure and defensive shape. They were not giving up goals. Orneal Fisher should be the starting left back for this team for the foreseeable future, or is he more might play on the left? I can't remember right now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm zonked right now. It's been a long day. We had a thing with Paul Arriola for the season ticket holders of the team. Queued us in on, so thank them for that. Got to ask Paul Arriola some questions. So we're all kind of, I think, just trying to truck through this. But John, what did you make of the game?
I thought that it was not great. I thought the goal we got is exactly indicative of their performance. A weird, shouldn't have happened thing that gave us a point. Now, am I happy to have gotten a point from both Toronto and New England, two teams that I think on the whole are better than we are? Yeah, I am. And I think that if we beat Montreal, we've done the best we can expect from this group.
Better and have an understanding of each other, and that's where I'm very much trying to. I am encouraged by the fact that this team, if we saw the same team that was disorganized, letting New England giving New England easy chances to find the back of the net, then I think we're having a different discussion than I'm having right now. But I thought the team, at the very least, they looked like they kind of knew each other a little bit, which for me was encouraging to see. I was at least encouraged by that point. I don't know quite how you felt about that.
Am I encouraged? I am not upset. I think I know this is a team that has not. This is not a trophy winning team as currently constituted. Edison Flores has been a complete non-factor.
Yeah.
Just completely not. And I think to the point where there's been discussions now on Twitter like, so when is Higuain going to starting in his position? And I mean, if it were a longer season, then yeah, it would be pretty soon. But it's not going to be a long season. It might just be this. So Higuain, again, we've talked about it a number of times now. We talked about it in the Arriola interview pregame weird thing that we did. That Higuain is the super sub extraordinaire right now for this team. And once again, he made an impact 3 minutes upon arriving. And it's really something that, this team has lacked, and it's great to have. Trying to think about things that were good about this game from a DC perspective. Bill Hamid was pretty good when he was challenged. He played pretty well. Center backs were generally composed, but New England didn't put them under pressure very effectively throughout the game. In the first half, I think there was actually more concerted pressure in the attacking half for New England, but it did not sustain in the second half. I imagine Bruce Arena is upset with the team's performance. DC has an excuse built in, having only played 3 days ago. Mm-hmm. New England had a whole week off, and this team, relatively intact from previous year. They have a lot of great players, but they did not play like a very good team for the most part.
I thought Flores, at the very least, gave me a reason. I thought he looked at least a little more lively. He looked a little more ability. Last game, he was basically, I don't think I ever remember him touching the ball. I'll have to go back and look to actually confirm whether he actually touched the ball. But I thought at the very least he was in possession, moving, and I thought there was still a little bit. I'm not ready to dunk on him yet, or to say, forget it, he's done, he's toast. I mean, these are guys that are still trying to learn each other. This has been an odd situation for him, I'm sure, to come into. This is probably not what he expected coming into the season. And again, we have to put this in perspective that this team is rebuilding. They are in a complete rebuilding mode. I'm not discouraged, I guess, that the team at the very least. Okay, if we're going to be if we're going to be in rebuilding mode, if we're going to be making, bad passes and we're not going to be quite, in sync with each other, at the very least, we're going to be difficult to score against. And I thought they did do that against New England. Obviously, they did give up a goal, kind of a weird play where the ball was blocked and the ball kind of popped up, and it was kind of a free header that Birnbaum, I think, missed on. Brilliant's I think Brilliant's feeling the Orlando summer, because I think he's getting torched on a regular basis in this tournament. Last time was not an aberration.
Let's talk about Eric Sorga starting the game and running around sort of like a chicken with its head cut off for 45 minutes, and then being pulled for Ulises Segura, who almost scored 5 minutes after we said, "Oh, darn it, Segura's back out there again."
Yeah,
let's talk about that. What does that say to you about Ola Kamara? What does that say to you about also what did you think of Sorga's performance?
I thought Sorga was rough. I thought Sorga was very, very rough. I did not. Again, he was another player who just really. I didn't think he was very much a factor in this game. And I look at Segura coming in. Segura provided what this team needed, which was a little shot of adrenaline. He's going to be a hard worker. There's a reason Ben Olsen likes this guy, because he's an incredibly hard worker. He will get in the work rate, and I think we saw that a little bit from him. Where Sorga was a little bit kind of like, I don't want to say lazy, but just clearly not active in the play. Segura's going to come in and play a very direct style, and whether you like him as a forward or not, I don't hope that's not the way we go. I hope Kamara's okay. He did not play this game despite being on the bench, which is very, very concerning to me coming in, because this team is going to sink or swim by the ability of him to score goals.
I think Twellman called him out pretty well and said that he basically stayed in the channels and wasn't coming for the ball, and as a result, touched the ball almost not at all. So I think unless, we don't know what he was directed to do, he might have been told, stay up there. We're trying to create space between you and the midfield, and hopefully give the midfield a bit more opportunity to create, which they did not do. He could have been told that. If he wasn't told that, then he wasn't coming to the ball, and he was out of the game. He played himself right out of the game. So
yeah,
I think Ola Kamara it might have just been 3 days since the last game. He looked toasted from that last game. They want to keep him fresh for the Montreal game, the game that really matters about getting out of this group.
Yeah, and that's the thing. DC has set themselves up fairly well to advance out of the group. You're going up against the team that's looked probably the weakest, which is Montreal. You wanted to be alive, I guess, in this game, because they're another team that is a new coach and basically trying to figure it all out from scratch. So I think that's going to be a fun game, and that's the game where I think you kind of take a step back and say, all right, we're going to go for this one. I guess they're going to get some days rest. They're got 1, 2, 3, 4 days rest. This condensed schedule is crazy. So not much. Sorry.
Open the phone lines up. At least put the screen up so people can call. I do want to go over some stats.
We can go stats.
New England outshot DC 18-6.
Mm-hmm.
Although only 5 on goal for New England to DC's 3. What would you imagine the possession was if you were watching this game?
60-30.
51-49 New England.
Well, that's because towards the end of the game, and Twellman was talking about on the broadcast, it was like DC got a very weird goal, which we haven't even talked about the goal. I don't know if there's much to talk about.
There isn't much, but we should talk about it.
I mean, it was a weird back pass that Pipa Higuain just, Johnny on the spot and was providing pressure. So, I mean, that's still a play that, a forward creates and wins the ball and slots it in his own goal. So kind of another weird defensive lapse that DC is able to capitalize on. A little bit less impressive, I guess, than the first Pipa Higuain goal, which was
slightly.
Just slightly. I mean, that's been the story of this tournament, though. It's been just weird lapses. I mean, this is the nature of these guys who are coming off preseason. They're playing in the sweltering heat. I was just outside early today in Richmond. I don't know how it is in Fredericksburg. It's probably about the same. It is like, I'm like trying to imagine, like you go outside, the sun is down, and you are still just sweating. Like, I'm not even walking around. I'm just sitting outside. I mean, it is sweltering hot out there. So, I mean, we're seeing weird lapses and weird things happen. That's kind of, and players are tired and they're like, screw this, I'm done. And they just want to get off the field. So, yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. Weird goal, weird mistakes. DC capitalizes. DC stays undefeated in this tournament. Do you want to?
Yeah, I mean that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much the whole of it. If anybody wants to share their thoughts on this
Yes.
game, uh, please give us a call 202-905-0454.
Yep.
Um,
Producer
I,
Brian is standing by.
I do, I'm not saying Edson Flores stinks and he should be benched now, but I am. You have to. This is not a real season. Like you're
Yeah.
hoping that they can quickly make an impact, and his time to make an impact here is drawn to a close. He may not make one this year. This may be
Yeah.
a lost year for him, and that's okay. That's not a huge deal. But right now, he's just not finding the game very much at all.
With the money that they spent on him, I think it was with the $5 million transfer fee and all of that. I just don't see how you can. I just don't see how you can just give up and say, "Oh no, he's not doing it. Forget it." I think you got to give him some more time. He's had He had 2 games. He's been on a break for 3-4 months. He hasn't had a chance to really learn his teammates, and that's really, I think, the thing that's really was missing is I think he's trying to figure out where he's going to fit in with this team, and he needs to develop that ability. So I mean, I am not ready to dunk on him this year. I think it's been a weird year overall. Any new player arriving for a team, I bet is thinking like, I wish I had not, signed a contract or did a transfer at this point. I mean, I would think any player right now who's arriving on a team in MLS is like, I really wish I hadn't done this because I would at least be comfortable back where I was, and I wouldn't have to be learning a team and also trying to deal with like a global pandemic and a weird bubble thing. So I am not going to say that Flores. I think Flores should continue to be out there for the rest of the tournament.
Sure,
Oop.
sure, that is true. Uh, Noticing that the score bug is wrong on our phone on our show. It was 1-1 draw, but I wish it was 2-2 because then I think I would have been
Easy fix. Easy fix.
fixed. Happened very fast. Jonathan M says in the chat, Assad needs to stop turning the ball over so much with his wannabe cute touches. He was less effective keeping the ball than he was in his first game as a sub. That is true. I think it's
Yeah.
different between a substitution appearance and starting from the start and having a lot more of the ball. I think he had in the first. Trying to think of other players who stood out to me. Your characterization of Fisher is different than some other folks on Twitter. I disagree, sort of. Rich says Fisher is terrible, always in full retreat, gives too much space without pressure, never goes forward like he used to. She should start Adoyatsam. And there was some people agree with that. I think he was. I think he had an up and down game. I think there was a few times he got forward where he was somewhat dangerous. The best cross from the right back though was Adoyatsam in the last
Yes,
15 minutes.
I mistakenly didn't see that Fisher had been subbed.
He flashed it right across the goal mouth,
Yeah.
and if Assad had taken one step to the right, or just had gotten lucky there, he would have had an easy goal, easy to happen. But we would not have deserved to win this game. If it would have been another cruel twist of fate for our opposition for us to get more points out of this. But 1-1 seems very fair to me based on the balance of play, unlike last time where it did not seem fair.
No. So yeah, guys, call in 202-905-0454. Give us your thoughts on the game. Give us your thoughts on what you think is going to happen. Are you worried at all? John, are you worried at all about this team? Are you like, you said coming into this tournament, I believe, I was the one like, I need to see something. I need to see something. I feel like we've almost switched sides where you're ready. You're tossing guys out. You're ready to toss everyone to the curb and start over.
No. I'm the only thing I'm concerned about is Flores. I think that everything else is progressing as I would like to see it. Jesse Leifert is disappointed with Assad. We do have to remember the amount of time he has not been playing. So we've sort of forgotten about that because everyone has not been playing. But yeah, producer Brian in the chat also said almost looks like he hasn't played in a few years. Yeah, that's the deal. Unfortunately for him, he didn't get a chance to work his way back into it, playing a whole bunch of games because there weren't a whole bunch of games. So that's where I hold nothing into this tournament. If we somehow don't advance, that's fine. This team wasn't going to win it anyway. They were not going to get hot and run through the knockout round because they just don't have the talent. They don't have the firepower clicking right now anyway. So that's okay. And the audio, hearing Ben cursing on the sidelines, was legit. Agree. I wish instead of having the drone cam, they had the Ben TVMA Ben Olsen feed that I can listen to during the game.
So Jason on Instagram asked, "What's your ideal front four?" I mean, my ideal front four is Assad, Gressel. If we're assuming healthy right now, I guess would be the idea. Gressel, Flores in the center, and Kamara up top. I mean, I don't think you can really slice it any other way. I don't think anyone else has really shown anything that would say that there's no one there showing anything, in my opinion, that would be that would be it.
Luciano Acosta would be in my dream front four.
There you go.
Otherwise occupied.
Yeah.
Caller.
Yeah, we do have a caller. We actually have a caller. Telling producer to send him in. So,
I mine is the same as yours.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the nature of this team. I would like to see this team, I guess, have a little bit more. Who knows? Anyway, caller, we have noted who this caller is. So, caller, mystery caller, you're on the air. Or maybe not. Hello?
Mystery caller, go ahead. Mystery caller.
Hello?
He's trying to send us a fax, I think, unfortunately. We got some other stuff here in the chat, stuff picking up here. DC United TV, my favorite meme account, says, what do you think the team's mentality going into?
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I hear you.
There you go. What's going on?
Who do we got?
Hey, I'm Jason in DC. Just something I wanted to bring up that I thought, Twellman made a good point, I thought, at the end of the game about potentially moving Flores out on the outside to maybe get him more comfortable. And I think, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that earlier in the season, the first couple games, he was kind of out on the wing, but I think Gressel kind of played in the middle, but he also seemed kind of uncomfortable there. But I don't know if you guys kind of have an opinion on who should really kind of take over that number 10 central role. If we have someone on the roster that could even fill that at the moment, it seems like that's kind of, a gaping hole in the front four. So just kind of seeing what your sort of opinion on what the ideal sort of lineup of the front four should be going forwards.
I mean, they both seem uncomfortable, right? Like, I feel like there's neither one of them has stood out as being really effective in their position. Granted, small sample size, the smallest sample size that could be.
Yeah.
But Gressel has not looked overwhelmingly confident, and he's not been affecting the game on the right. Flores has not affected any of the games at all in the middle. So I think we have two broken toys right now, and we're sliding them around. In the best case scenario, based on previous play and what they were purchased for, we want Flores in the middle, and you want Gressel on the right. But right now, I think Ben is just throwing him out there and saying, "All right, let's play up to the back of your play up to your Football Reference website. Do what you normally have done." Yeah. I was going to say baseball card, but that's or soccer card. But no one looks at the back of soccer cards or own soccer cards. Ted, what do you think?
I mean, I'm kind of I'm just in the same boat of, yes, they both look uncomfortable. I thought Flores was kind of funny. I feel like he was almost drifting a little bit out onto the wing, where he's supposed to be that number 10. In theory, he's supposed to be that guy. And it seems very clear the past couple games where Ben Olsen's played him, they think he's supposed to be that person, that number 10 in the center. I think we just have to put into consideration, you have, in that game, you had, Eric Sorga, you had Edison Flores, Julian Gressel, Yamil Assad. No one from in that lineup played a single minute for DC last year. They are completely, I think everybody is trying to figure each other out. And you really, with those types of, offensive movement and things like that, those are things you kind of only really discover in a game. And sometimes you get that lucky, Rooney Acosta contribution where they're just both, for whatever reason, on the same wavelength. But that doesn't happen very often. So I just wanted to see where I could watch a play and say, okay, I could see what Gressel was thinking, what Flores was thinking, I think having the overlapping fullbacks and not having Knaus in the center, Knaus out right, is a move I'm looking to see more of in the future, because this team looked a lot, I thought at least towards the end of the game, they looked a lot better with Odiatsum and Mora kind of playing sort of the overlapping fullback role. And that's something we haven't really had since Orneal Fisher went down. So I'm very, very much wanting to see that. Sure.
And I guess my last question, thanks for taking my call, by the way. You guys are great. So, I mean, I'm also kind of, concerned about the striker spot as well, the number 9. Like, obviously Kamara has a significant track record, but it seems like what we've seen of him this year, he's had maybe that one or two chances, but is it just he's not getting the service, or there's someone else should take over that role? It seems like to me both the number 9 and the number 10 roles are very much up in the air at the moment, and it just it's not really inspiring much much optimism moving forward.
Yeah, I think with the way DC plays, your forward's only going to be as good as the guys behind him. So I think that's something to consider, is that when you have a dysfunctional midfield attack that's not quite familiar with each other, they're not going to be able to get Kamara or Eric Sorga into the spots. I still think Kamara is the number 9 right now. I think he's the only number 9 who generated a decent chance, or maybe it's Pipe Higuain. Who knows? Higuain has managed, and really we have to credit Higuain came into both games for DC now and made an impact. It wasn't just the goal. He looked much more active. He looked like he was sort of directing traffic a little bit. That's what they need Edison Flores to be, and right now they're not getting that. So.
Yeah,
Sure.
there is nowhere else to go. It's Kamara or bust.
Yeah.
If you look at the expected goals from these games, it's not so, if you've been listening to the podcast where we talk about NWSL at all, it's not a situation where Ashley Hatch is getting 6 chances to bury a goal a game and is burying none of them. Kamara is not getting the opportunities to score. He has been at his best when he has gotten a lot of service. That's why he has a goal every other game scoring record. He's not getting it yet. There's nowhere else to go. So all of our cards are in the, all of our chips are in the middle on Ola. So it's got to go or it's not going to work.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for taking my calls, guys. Good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for
calling in.
So in a couple more things here from the chat. DCU TV said, what do you think the team's mentality going into Game 3 is after 2 draws coming back from behind? You could argue it's good. You could argue they're in a good place because they've shown the fight that has traditionally defined Ben Olsen teams by coming back from a losing position to get a point both times. Hopefully, how many days before the next game?
Let's see. It's on Tuesday, I think, the 21st.
Not that many. So once again, short shrift here.
4 days. I think they get like one extra day, basically.
Wonderful. So. Ben, they've got to win this game. They're in a position now where they've got to, if they want to advance, they've got to win. So I don't know if that changes I don't imagine you're setting up to tie, but the mindset where they've got to, front foot, not try to put themselves in a hole and score some goals are a little bit different. So.
I think this is a case where you're at the very least, because you have New England who's sort of built who they were throughout this sort of the 2019 season. Toronto always know who they are. They know exactly how they want to play, and you can see their organization is very, very firm. Montreal, at the very least, is a team that also is trying to figure it out. So I think that presents an opportunity for DC to try to develop something. I am going to be watching. I think this game will tell us more about where this team is than the first two games will, because you're going up against a team that is in the same boat as DC. And I think with the way this whole tournament has gone, this tournament could have flown off the rails right at Moreno's red card, and it hasn't yet. The team is still very, very much alive. A win probably puts them either third or better, so it puts them into the next round more than likely. So that's what I think the team has to sort of look at. I think if they were anybody, they were Xing these 2 games like, all right, we need at least a point out of each game. If we get a win, hey, even better. That final game against Montreal, that's our point where we need to win. If we want to advance, we want to play an extra game. And then at that point, it's like, you finish with 5 points out of those 3 games. I don't know if I'm upset at that point. So I think that third game is going to decide kind of what this thing is. And, at the end of the day, I mean, the knockout round and the tournament might be upset, but these are 3 regular season games. So these technically count towards the standings. So
a little bit of news for anybody who did not join us or was not able to be in the Paul Arriola Q&A that we were talking about before. Well, we got a little bit of a dead time. We put it to him what the status was of his contract, and he had a sort of a interesting smile on his face, saying he didn't know what he could say yet. But it's safe to say that there's a contract extension in the offing.
I would say it's safe to say that his contract is at least close to done if he's being trotted
It seemed
out.
like signed. It seemed the face he had. It was like, did that tweet drop yet? No? Okay, I can't say anything yet then. That's the vibe I was getting, but who knows?
And that's another thing to consider about this team. This team is missing any MLS team is going to be weak if you lose big players, and Paul Arriola is a big player. That's another reason why I'm trying to put out. And we got another call. We got Rich on the line, so we're gonna try to get Rich into the line. Hopefully that goes a little smoother.
Rich has opinions on O'Neal Fisher if it's the same Rich from Twitter, so maybe I'll have that conversation.
Yeah. Let me get.
Ted is over there connecting cables into the wall like a 1940s operator.
Rich, how you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good.
What you got for us here? The floor is yours, my friend.
Okay, so my concern is Higuain can score, but can he coach? Because, I mean, if Ben has his way, he's going to play for a tie, and we definitely need 3 points to get through. So there's no sense playing for a tie. I mean, you can't play two defensive midfielders and hope to get a tie and maybe squeak a goal in, you know. Although maybe if you can play for a tie, if you can keep it tied all the way to 60 minutes to get Higuain, and you might score and you might get you through.
That may be the new Benny ball. That may be part of it right there. You want 0-0 or
that is it.
So yeah, I think it's tough, right? Like I think that the real advantage this team has sometimes with the two defensive midfielders, and this tournament notwithstanding, sometimes they've been able to be really stout defensively, and the fact that they haven't been able to score a bunch of goals, that's the way they've been getting 3 points. It's not been on the big 4-0 swing. It's been able to just keep it tight for as long as possible and try to score a goal. They're not getting a lot of service. They're not getting a lot of goal chances. So I think that the strategy is until the offense clicks, they've got to be as stingy as possible and keep the chances low. But unfortunately, they keep conceding on mistakes, usually not system mistakes, right? The goals have been on individual goofs that have resulted in goals. So that they've got to lock that down, and then that strategy can work. Right now, they really need to figure out a way to get more chances into whoever's playing forward. And hopefully, based on today, I want it to be Olo Kamara because I don't want it to be Eric Sorga, at least right now.
Well, the worst thing could be Segura being in there. That'd be even worse. So
the worst thing is that he almost scored. He had a really good. He had the best chance of the game for any of our forwards. So he hit it right at him, but still.
That's true. Yeah. But I mean, if it's Sorga, I'd rather. I don't know. Sorga seemed pretty good though. Early in the year, first couple games, he was actually contributing when he was going on for Kamara. But if you can remember back that far, but what I was going to say is for the defense, you're right. We have to stay in it, but it does. Is it me or is it like we are very vulnerable on the right side with Fisher? He is just backing up, giving people 10 yards the whole way back to roll right into our box, and then as soon as we put Adoy Aston in, it's like we firm up on that side and they start backing up, and the ball isn't possessed at our side so much.
Well, at this point, I think I'd rather have, and I'm going to defend Fisher's honor at this point. I mean, you talk about him tracking back. I think that ability of him to sort of is important because he, at the very least, it seemed like one thing I will say about DC's defensive shape, especially in that first half. Yes, there were chances that New England had in that game, but they were not chances. They were not chances you would classify as necessarily high scoring chances. They're what you want. If you're going to be outshot in a game, you want shots taken from outside the 18. And I think when you have Fisher and you have Odiatsum in there, and they're able to track back and they're able to not allow sort of a wing player to sort of, get inside and get a ball right into the box, and you're able to sort of shut that part down. I think that's very, very important to how DC plays and how DC's been able to win games. And I think that's kind of what we saw with him out there and with Odiatsum out there. I'll concede maybe Odiatsum was better than Fisher, but I think we need those types of speedy wing backs who are going to track back and really just if you have a team that's taking long shots, you're even if you're being dominated, that can be a good thing because it's going to take an act of unbelievable play to put the ball in the back of the net. So that's kind of maybe my defense of sort of the defensive structure of kind of how things were working.
Yeah, I think if you go back, though, you'll see that the reason why it was a nasty deflection. So, I mean, that goal is just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a luck goal. But if you look back at it, the shot came off from outside because O'Neal Fisher was backing up so much, he gave the guy plenty of room to just whip it in. And then it hit somebody, flipped up, and then boom. And so that stuff's going to happen when they can throw it in the mixer like that. Being a center back myself, I knew that I didn't like, when the ball is up in the air in the middle of the field, right there, just, between the 6 and the 18, that's danger. Like, stuff happens. People get on it. So, I don't know. I'd rather not play the game in our side of the field. I think that the best defense is a good offense. If we could control the ball more in the midfield. And I don't know about you guys, but I thought Gressel has looked terrible. Terrible. And, Flores hasn't looked a whole lot better either.
Yeah, I think that there have been very few offensive players to cover themselves in glory, I think, so far, based on both on the score lines and also just the way these games have looked. No one has been able to keep the ball. There's a lot of standing around without the ball. It was weird. After the goal scored, they had their best attacking 5 or 10 minutes, which is 12man brought it out. He's like, fans have got to be annoyed by this because it should not take this to turn the offense on. But I'm not really impressed with any of the offensive players overall. Assad had a rough game as far as turning the ball over. Gressel and Flores were both non-factors in my mind. Paredes didn't get long enough. I would like to see him come on a little bit earlier, just because of how strong of a performance he gave against Toronto. I'm hoping he gets in again against Montreal, and I'm really hoping that we have no information here about Kamara's non-featuring in this game. It would make the most sense that they just want to keep him fully fresh and try to get him as close to 90 minutes for Montreal. But we'll see. This tournament is weird, right? Like you can have 3 good games and it works out, or have 3 bad ones and you suck and the season is lost. So I think I'm giving Fisher a little bit of benefit of the doubt because he has not had a start since, I don't know. This might be his first start since coming back from injury. I'm not totally sure. And if he's a little bit cautious on closing down and doesn't want to get sort of let anyone past him, and it's maybe giving a little bit more space because of that. You understand why he's doing that. It's not good overall, but I'll give him a little bit of an excuse. We need to score more goals. That's really the truth here.
And I think a lot of the reason the offense hasn't looked good is because, again, who out there was on the field last year? So I mean, I think this team is just needing to learn each other a little bit. So I'm giving them a little bit of a pass, maybe not looking like they're on the same page, because they need to learn each other's tendencies, and that's going to take time, and that's time we don't have. And so that's why I think it's most important to just get the most out of these games. Hopefully against a weaker Montreal side, maybe we can see a little bit more. So I'll be curious to watch that game on Tuesday. I'll be looking forward to it.
Do you guys think that they don't know each other, that they need to get used to each other, or do you think it's that there's nobody out there as a leader? Like, Rooney was directing traffic last year, and you notice when Higuain comes on as directing traffic, that's when we get cohesive and go forward. It's like everybody's afraid to be the one to go forward. They're passing back. We're just scooping the ball around, changing sides, but we're not really moving forward. But, when Higuain is out there, he's pointing to go here, go there, do this, do that. And he's doing the same thing Hamid is doing from the back. He gives us that in the front. And I don't think Flores does it. I don't think Gressel does it. I don't think, anybody up there is doing that until him. So unless we have a leader up front, someone to lead the attack, even Lucho would do that before we had Rooney,
Yeah, there might be something to that. There is not a field general.
Yeah.
There's definitely not a field general in the attack, and I think that they may be suffering for that. Particularly if we're talking about these players that haven't had a lot of minutes together to know each other's play style, and until they do, they need someone to basically direct. I think he's right. I think there could be something there with that.
And I think maybe
and a language barrier.
Yeah,
I think you get Higuain in there with Flores and maybe because I know Higuain can speak multiple languages.
Yep.
So for him, he's better off leading. Maybe there's a communication gap between Gressel and Flores and Assad. It's just not. They're not connecting verbally. Like you said, leadership or field general or whatever.
I do wonder how different this would be if Paul was healthy. So I that's something I've always kind of thought about. You talk about like someone who's going to be a leader on the field. Who's
Paul
going to
be that guy for sure.
Yeah, Paul would be that
can,
guy.
And having played in Mexico for so long, he knows he can speak multiple languages.
Yeah.
He also can haul ass
all
for
over the
90
world.
minutes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that is one thing. I mean, I don't know if he would do that right now in the Orlando humidity. Playing
Should have asked him that
in 3 days. We should have asked him.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Hey, Rich,
you guys cannot mention that one more time because listen, it was 93 today here and 91 there. It's hot in the summer.
what's the dew point?
It's not any hotter in Orlando. I've been there, man. It's no more humid than DC. Trust me.
Well, I don't want to play soccer outside DC either.
Listen, hold on. It's better in Orlando because it rains every day, and after it rains, the humidity drops precipitously. It doesn't do that here.
Yeah.
So
that's
that's
still
why
in
they wait. They play a morning game. It breaks around 1 or 2 o'clock. They play an evening game or two. It's not that bad.
Rich,
Everybody
the
bring
weather,
that up. It's
the
not
weather
a big deal.
truther.
Rich,
Exactly. I mean, well, if you have never lived in Florida, then you wouldn't know that.
All right, Rich. Well, thanks so much for calling in, man. We appreciate the call.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, I think there's something to that he said about a field general, and that's something that maybe has to develop over a time period. Guys understanding each other. Again, I wonder. What's that?
Who do you think it would be? Looking at a roster, who do you think has that playing personality?
I would say Julian Gressel. That would be one player. I mean, I don't know, and that's just a player I know. I don't think Assad's going to go out and do that. I don't think Flores, right now doesn't look like he's going to do that. He should. I think that's what we need a bit more out of him. Flores is definitely the opposite of like a Lucho type player. He's like the anti-Lucho. He's just very nice and maybe he's just nervous trying to learn, his team. But he doesn't seem like the type of player where Lucho would just like you could tell when Lucho was getting frustrated in a game. Like it was very plainly obvious when he was getting frustrated. Flores, I could tell, I knew was frustrated because things weren't going well. But yeah. So, all right, folks. I think that just might do it. I don't know, John. Do you have anything else you want to add to this game?
No. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm surprised we were able to get this much out of it.
Yeah, appreciate people calling in, by the way.
Yeah, there was not a lot of notable about this. I think we're happy we got another draw. This team is not hitting on all cylinders yet. It's unlikely to hit on all cylinders in the next 4 days in this Montreal game. Luckily, Montreal, who were able to put the ball in the net, although with 2 penalties against Toronto, be able to score 3. I don't see DC United scoring 3 goals right now, the way things are currently constituted, but things can change pretty quickly. And I've already said I don't think that this team does not have a playoff, quote unquote, playoffs run in them after this group stage. So I would like everybody to return healthy. I would like to see more. I would like to see more Kevin Paredes, maybe Griffin Yao get some time, and then I'm just glad that there's soccer.
Yeah,
I'm glad that we can come back here on Tuesday and do it.
Weird. I'm glad there's weird soccer. I think that's what we can say. All right. Thank you all so much for calling in. Thank you to producer Brian in the background for coming up with the graphics and doing all the great stuff that you're seeing on the channel right now. And we will catch you guys probably after the next game. I don't know if I'll be there, but I know John will definitely be there. So
would they not catch us? Would they not? Yeah, I guess we have to talk about that. Stay tuned.
I
don't know when the next show is.
Yeah. Bye.
Vamos.
Vamos.